You and I are constantly bombarded by misinformation from politicians, celebrities, and media personalities who demonize guns and gun owners. Their accounts are contrary to my experience as a responsible gun owner, a retired police officer, and a professional competitive shooter. I have listened to their lies and I've taken their punches, but I refuse to stay silent any longer because I know a lot of women who have something to say and they won in the game. They're ready to play offense with the truth.
The truth is, we all want the same thing: to protect ourselves, our families, and to be safe in our communities. The DC Project is a nationwide grassroots organization made up of women from every demographic. We come from all different walks of life, but we are united in preserving our Second Amendment rights. As we share our experiences, we push back against gun control lies and oppose those who demand our rights be restricted.
As an immigrant from Venezuela, I saw how easy it was for freedom to die. My family and I watched tyranny destroy our home. In Venezuela, the media, celebrities, and politicians repeated the same anti-gun messages until people found it normal and acceptable to give up their freedoms. The reality is, none of it is normal or acceptable. Hungry and helpless, Venezuelans are now unable to protect themselves. Now, as a proud American, I am determined to guard against the same things happening here.
We constantly hear about common sense gun control, like universal background checks, banning assault weapons, ghost guns, high-capacity magazines, and gun show loopholes. Every city that is facing massive crime waves have put these policies into place. Common sense tells me that they don't work. So why do people still believe the idea that those policies save lives? Actual common sense is holding criminals accountable, not letting them out of jail or encouraging them to be more confrontational. Common sense is not stealing the right of the American people to protect themselves. This is the message that America needs to hear.
The DC Project works to reduce firearm accidents by campaigning for education in schools. We counter the false gun control lies by testifying in hearings and meeting our legislators. We equip our friends, our families, and our communities to know the truth. Gun owners are good people.
America is a beacon of freedom. The Second Amendment is a vital piece in ensuring that our kids can have a free country to grow up in. We stand with the lawmakers who support the Constitution, and we provide armor from the attacks by the gun control lobby.
Join the DC Project today. Become a member, donate, or subscribe to our newsletter for updates on how we educate, advocate, and preserve our Second Amendment rights for generations to come.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Hey there, everybody. So it's another week that we have made it through.
Yeehaw.
Hey, how about you talk somewhere near your mic as opposed
I
to
didn't
just...
even know where it was.
Well, there you go. There's this it's a magical thing called a microphone that is all set up for radio.
Oh,
Imagine.
boy.
Oh boy, exactly. So what good Second Amendment gun things are going on with you?
Oh, nothing's going on with me, but I'm watching in the news. They hate us.
Well,
Bruin has got them stirred up, and they hate us.
Okay, yeah. So the Bruin case has gotten everybody's tail in the spokes. There's no doubt about it.
If you enjoy the fact that they hate you, then this is a good time.
This is a good time,
and I'm in my happy place.
You're liking that. So I, on the other hand, am looking at. There's so much stuff going on, getting ready to go to DC. The DC Project gals are leaving next week, Tuesday, to head to DC for meetings on Wednesday, Thursday, and a rally at the Capitol on Friday. And so I've been running around like a chicken without a head, trying to make sure that, because I'm one of the room mothers, so I've got a whole team, and we are going to see.
Well, it's kind of funny as things go, and I've been less and less likely to get to the range to shoot, so it's almost like I just got bullets that are just backing up behind me that.
Well, that's actually good, but I had all these plans to buy a new gun before we went to gun sight, and I've pretty much given up on that. So now
have to shoot your old crappy gun, eh?
I'm shooting my old rusty. Well, it's not rusty, but dusty, rusty. Been in my pocket, scuffed up carry gun, and so that'll be the gun that I do. But so yeah, no, the trips that are scheduled are really. We are going to, between you and I am going to be everywhere, and you're going to be almost everywhere. So we're starting with, I'm in DC, and then I'm in Michigan, and then we're in Dallas for the Gun Rights Policy Conference. And folks, if you've not seen the Gun Rights Policy Conference, you ought to, and you can log in and you can watch it online. There is hours and hours of all of your absolute favorite Second Amendment advocates are all in one place, and they're talking about all the work that they do. So this year, look at this face. If you're watching TV, look at this face, because he is not a happy camper. Because Rob Campbell has been asked to be one of the speakers at the Gun Rights Policy Conference, and immediately he has we'll just say he's all bunched up. Let's just say he's not looking forward to this.
I don't know why anybody wants to know anything about me. It just blows my mind.
Well, we'll find out. So we'll find out what his topic is, what he's going to be speaking on. But I'm laughing hysterically at just his facial expressions on the fact that he was like, wait, they want me to what? They want a bio? They want a picture? They want to hear what I have to say. And great. And he's like, I like my cloak of invisibility that I function under behind the eye on the target team. So I just think it's funny. But there's that. So that is the Gun Rights Policy Conference. Then we come back, and then we had to Tommy Gun Warehouse for the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival.
We always have a good time there.
Oh, my. Scranton, Pennsylvania, Greeley, Pennsylvania. So that's coming up. And then after that, then you and I are both going to Gun Sight to take a training class at Gun Sight.
See if we remember how to shoot a gun.
Something like that. So, I am going to say that it is a good thing to always go and take additional training. So I try to take it a couple times a year. You train with our friend Mike, who trains all over the country and then comes back and and you do this training once removed kind of thing where the two of you practice everything that he takes notes on. So, oh yeah, Charlie Cook is saying, I can't wait for Rob to talk about rifling at Gun Rights Policy Conference. I don't know what his topic is going to be, but
have to get some like, I don't know, some sheets like Vanna White so that you can see what I'm talking about too.
some of those,
So I can hold up little things to show you what, like.
I see. So you can hold up giant letters.
Well, you can see like Henry style rifling versus
we can
game
make
twist and some different Metford. We'll talk about all different types of button rifling versus cut rifling, all that.
I think that if you started that way, it would get everybody's attention. We'll just say, especially those who are in on the inner circle of humor in the rifling portion. So that's pretty darn funny. We'll just say. So what else is? So you've been reloading. What else is going on?
Oh, nothing. I've been trying to get to the gun shop, but their schedule seems to be different than mine lately.
Right.
I'm working too much. I need to take a break. Apparently, I did see that there's something going on with where you can't use your credit card. So now it's preferable to pay cash when you go to the gun shop.
We're going to have that conversation. We have a whole story about that. They've been pushing for it for a while. And so it may be that your habit at the gun shop can be all cash transaction.
You can make all that stuff work for you instead of against you if you think about it ahead of time.
Yeah? What do you mean?
Well, if you're ordering stuff, have it shipped to the gun shop. They're expecting them to get bullets, magazines, different things like this. Since we don't have a HIPAA laws to make them so they can't see what you've been buying online.
You can then pay cash for it.
You just have the credit. You have the gun shop buy the stuff. It ships it in, and then out the door it goes cash money. Nobody pays attention. Nobody writes it down. Nobody takes any video or any of that. So
yet. But no. So where is that story? Do you see it on somewhere in your pile of stories?
In the pile here, somewhere.
But there was it was an ISO. So this is the interesting part to this, is that so the headlines say that guns bought through credit cards in the U.S. will now be trackable. And it's really the question of can now be trackable as opposed to will. So ISO, which is the International Organization for Standardization, so they are the quality people. So they're the standardization people. So ISO 9000, ISO 14001, all of those kinds of standards. They also have a merchants section, and so they voted in favor of creating a merchants code for firearms stores. So they have merchants codes for other things, and so what happens is that your credit card can track different merchants types of transactions.
So if your gun shop doubles as a hardware store, you can just have them punch everything in on its hardware.
Well, if they double as a hardware store, they probably don't even want to get the other code, and or if they double as a paint shop Cerakoter, they probably there are things like that, but the interesting part is the merchants codes are 4-digit codes that categorize retailers across the industries. So until now, gun purchases were classified under miscellaneous retail stores or sporting goods. Well, we know that it is indeed sporting goods, but it could also be considered safety apparel. But that would be, same thing as gloves and boots and that type of thing. The Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markley have lauded this as a boon, as a benefit to the industry, because they want to know what is going on with that.
You know how when you buy something and the less it is, the less you're getting, the more you're paying for it. So like maybe
The less
a 20.
it is, the less you're getting, the more you're paying. What?
Usually if you buy something that you pay a lot of money for it, it's usually lightweight, small, and
Okay, got it.
Now my Speedo costs $2,200 when I go to this
Sporting goods store. There you go. That's it. Exactly. But there's a whole variety of top-level credit card companies, PayPal, Stripe, Square, those that do not allow gun purchases at all, or if it has anything to do with a gun, they will lock it down. PayPal at one point had locked down, I don't know, $5,000 for us because. So we'll be back right after this. Continue the talk.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Writing Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Writing Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Well, you know what? This whole article about the ISO giving codes to banks, I knew I didn't like it. And then the more I read from the article on the people who are lauding it and saying it's wonderful. The groups are, every Town for Gun Safety had a comment about it. Then the Amalgamated Bank, which brands itself as a socially responsible bank, they are happy about it, and so they celebrated it with New York's Governor Kathy Hochul and New York's Attorney General Letitia James. So that is another level of seriously, dudes. And then the Alliance for Gun Responsibility says that we're glad to see the financial industry take action to recognize that it has a role to play. And what's really... Go ahead.
The thing is people should have learned years back. I mean, the credit card has never been 100% foolproof. And so you go to the bank and you put your money in there. Say you got $4,000 or $5,000, you throw it in your account. Then you go to the gas station and you put $400 worth of diesel fuel in your truck. And then the card says there's no money in your account. So now you're on the phone with the bank because you don't have no money and your card doesn't work. And now you have $400 worth of somebody else's fuel in your car.
And they don't like that.
And so you're kind of trapped right there.
Right.
And it's happened on numerous occasions in different situations like this. Why would we continue to play their game? I mean, I don't understand this cashless society. I don't understand any. I mean, if you've got a wad of cash in your pocket, you know somebody else doesn't have a wad of cash in their pocket, and they'd be willing to trade you what you need for whatever
for your wad of cash
that you.
Well, I think that part of it is that people have determined that cash means crime. Well, I mean, so waving your wad of cash around is one thing, but how many? So that's
maybe shoot for the face, and when you catch one, do not release it in the public again, and hold on to it forever and ever.
Forever and ever. There you go. Okay, I hear you.
We allow this. The credit card companies are out to get you, and then when you look at the automotive companies, they're out to get you. And then we've seen that just recently that the electronic smart temperature sensor in your home is out to get you.
Oh yeah, Colorado. So the Colorado lockdown, it was hot. They declared an emergency so that they could take over control of your thermostats that you had allowed them to have control of in an emergency, but you did not assume that because people wanted electricity, that would be construed as an emergency.
Right. Technology is a great thing, but we tend to lean on it too much. And then it was a couple years ago, there was a place here in Ohio that the natural gas comes through. They had a power surge or something. Who knows what the deal was. But anyhow, the guy at the end of the line up in New England somewhere, he got an overboost of gas. So he was supposed to get like 5 ounces. He ended up getting like 24 pounds or something. Blew a couple houses up, killed some people because nobody's paying attention to what this stuff's doing. And electronic meters said, well, we don't have no power, so you're getting a full
You're
throttle.
Getting everything, right? Boom. Yeah, no, and you're right. So it's responsibility
We're all too
and
lazy
technology.
to go there manually and turn a little knob or flip a switch to do it. We want to have some kind of a little
we want to say
electronic box that's going to think for us. And
Alexis,
did any of these science fiction movies you ever watch when you was a kid ever teach you anything about how the machine is not your friend? And
I don't know. I don't watch TV, so I can't say that I.
Well, you might be better
right.
person for it because some of that stuff will make you stay up at night with one eye open.
Exactly, and I don't know that I need that in my world. So, I don't know. It's just some of this is you just look at it. And so here's what one of the things that's in this article. I'm going back to this article because they believe this crock of cheese that they are handing to everybody. And so they said that in 2020, the FBI background checks led to blocking more than 300,000 illegal gun purchases. 300,000, nearly double the number of 2019. Well, when you talk to Dr. John Live, most of the time they're false denials, and they are denials of people who should be allowed to have a gun, but they don't let them have a gun, and they don't let them have a gun
because the electronics or something got them fooled, messed up with somebody else,
and it looks like somebody else.
At the end of the line, they got 24 pounds of gas in their 5-ounce system, right?
Right, exactly. And so there's 300,000 illegal gun purchases they blocked. Yeah, no, it's probably 300,000, because think about it. If you know that you cannot buy a gun through the legal system, why would you pay your money and go stand in line for them to just tell you no? Right? So one of our listeners is saying that Elizabeth Warren was trying to have someone straw purchase, which is illegal, and in Massachusetts. So Elizabeth Warren is Massachusetts, or is in Massachusetts. I guess she is not the entire state, but she's in Massachusetts. And she tried to do a straw purchase 93 times, and none of those times did it work. Now, Katie Couric, on the other hand, sent one of her interns across the state line to buy it, filmed it without any concept that what she did was completely illegal, and no one prosecuted her. So it just pays to be famous.
Well, some of that stuff too is that they don't think it through. They don't understand it. So, like that Katie Couric thing, they thought, well, the gun will be destroyed. Well, when they turn it into the police to have it destroyed, the police aren't allowed to destroy it, so they have to either use it or sell it back to the system so that it can be.
But it doesn't negate the law that they broke to get it in the first place.
Right.
And so they're like, oh, well, the greater good. No, it isn't the greater good. You broke a law. That would be Robin Hood.
Take them off the street.
Robin Hood says that I stole from the rich to give to the poor for the greater good, right? So it's not, I'm not breaking any laws. It's all fine because somebody used the numbers. So we'll talk about how many false positives when we come back.
And head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
Okay, so we're back. So one of our listeners is asking the question about how many times does somebody get a false positive, or that type of a thing. They don't post. They never tell you when there is an error. When there's an error either way. So when they allow a gun to go through that they don't intend for it to, because there has been those where they call and say, did you transfer that gun that we told you could transfer? And you say, yeah. And then they're like, okay, can you give me some more information? So obviously
there's also other ones where they put it on a delay and then they never call you back.
They never call you back. Well,
15 years, they never call back.
But then there are people who they do a denial, and those people have the right to appeal it. They also have people who get a denial all the time, and so they've created a system called the unique personal identification number for those people to be able to keep them from being denied all the time. But how many people will go to all the trouble if they're a super user of Second Amendment guns? Then they'll go to the trouble of getting the unique personal identification number. But if they're a dude
buy a gun once in a while
or once and they get a denial, they're like, yep, I'm not allowed to have one. I don't know why I'm not allowed to have one. Maybe they don't like the look of my face. Maybe they don't like the color of my eyes. Maybe they don't like, whatever it is. Maybe they don't like the community I live in. Maybe I did something that I don't know that I did.
Well, that's the thing is we don't know it, but there could very well be that your address plays a part in whether they give you the okay or not because they want to keep guns out of that neighborhood or something.
Well, there's a little bit of all that. So
you can see I trust everybody.
You are ever so trusting. So Dr. John Lott from crimeresearch.org, he has, if you have an opportunity to hear him speak, he is amazing in the amount of data and the amount of knowledge that he has. And he'll do question and answer opportunities. And he'll talk about how they will give you denials based on similar names that are not, it's not about your social security number. It is just a name that is similar to yours, not even necessarily spelled the same as yours. It can have the same number of letters. It can be, so there's a wide variety of reasons why or how they do these denials. But crimeresearch.org is the website. And go there, spend a little time looking around at it, and then look up Dr. John Lott on YouTube, because you will find him, because I've sat and watched him on One American News. I've watched him on Newsmax. I've watched him on Fox. He is a guest on different people's shows talking about the things that he knows and how it applies. And in a lot of what he has to say is talking about underserved communities. And so, frankly, it is that it holds the African Americans, the Hispanics, it holds them down, and it stops them from being able to protect themselves, protect their families, because somebody might have committed a crime that had a name that was comparable or similar to them.
Well, sometimes if you just look at in the old days, you could look at a phone book and see it. Even now, you just Google your name and see how many people come up as. If your name is John Smith, just think there's a couple of dozen of you out there.
Well, I'm going to say that that's one of the advantages of my name, is that it is not ever so popular. But you, on the other hand, have a name that everybody has. It is as common as white bread.
Right? It's funny, if you've got a name like Williams or Smith or
Campbell.
Yep, Campbell.
Right.
All that is 10 million of you with the same name and initials and birthday and everything.
And so, and that is it. And so, okay, so Mike White says that he was on a delay status once for 31 days here in California. So 31 days. That's on the federal. I don't know what California laws are on the federal level. Here it is.
After like 3 days, you can transfer if they like the way you look. If they don't like the way you look, they can delay and blame it on the government. So.
The gun shop. we had a guy come into our gun shop one time, and he wanted to buy a gun. He got on a delay. Then he wanted to buy a ski mask and gloves, I think, something. And it was like, dude, I don't know where you're going with this, but it sounds like you're doing the the basic criminal starter kit.
Getaway cars next.
Right, and we're not having that here. We're just not having any of that here. And so it just so happened that his delay was a delay, and that would be the I don't like the way he looks. Because let's talk about that for a minute. You, as a gun shop owner, can deny service.
Right. Nothing says that you have to sell somebody something. If you're selling, say, a truck at a dealership, and you say, I don't like the way you look, go away, they can sue you for that.
Right.
But at a gun shop, the guy who's
I don't like how you act. I don't like your mannerisms.
If you're twitching, you're doing, you look too sweaty or something, I'm not selling you a gun.
You look, you're talking to somebody else in some kind of code, right? Or we see you in the corner handing over money, because there's all these rules as a gun shop owner on straw purchases and making sure that you are the owner and you are the intended user.
In most cases, most old married men are straw purchasers because
honey, can I have the wallet?
They have to get money from the wife to buy the gun because they don't have none.
You're not wrong. I mean, there is when you have a community checkbook.
I ain't got no money,
right? And you get an allowance to go to work every week so that you can buy gas and a lunch.
Big and little Enos on Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
Pay the man, Junior.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether I want to be Big Enos or Little Enos at that point. We're just going to go no. But it is a concern on straw purchases, because it puts a lot of responsibility on a gun shop to identify all of the stuff. And then if something happens, you are on the news because you're a
gun shop, not a, what do they call it, a psychologist's laboratory.
Maybe you're supposed to be both. I mean, and so part of it is how do you read body language and identify all of that stuff?
He was combing his hair the wrong direction.
Came in wearing loafers and no socks. That was it.
There's something wrong with the way he was thinking.
We're not having that here in rural Ohio, right? I don't know. It's just very weird. I mean, because some mannerism that would be acceptable in a different community or in a different state or in a different, I mean, it's sort of like, I worked in New Jersey for a while, and just the general habits of New Jersey folks to Ohio folks were so unique and different to me that, and then I traveled to Huntsville, Alabama, and when I'm down there and I said something about it being different, and they were like, yeah, and I said something, and I said, and you guys are completely different, and they're like, and you guys, and then they started to make fun of me with you guys, but it really is that if you're trying to identify mannerisms and things that are outside the norm, and then we start to talk about people who travel around, where you come from changes your mannerisms completely. Well, and
you could have just moved into town a couple months ago or whatever,
right?
Or
right. And so where?
Well, even that, I know people who moved from the South up here years ago, and they still sound like they live in the South with their accent.
Well, and some people pick up accents. I pick up accents. If I am vacationing somewhere, it would take me a week in Norway, and I would be Norwegian. We'll just say. So that's all.
That'd be cool. You could do the radio in Norwegian accent.
It would be a week in Norway, and I would be Norwegian. Mm-hmm. Yes. So some people pick up things like that, and others don't, because people are like, "Where's your accent from?" It's
everywhere. I've been everywhere.
I've got a couple y'alls and some A's and a little bit of so a little bit of
like my dog.
Right, a little bit of you guys. So I've got like New Jersey tied to Alabama, tied to Wisconsin. There you go. Go back and listen to the show the week after Amanda was in Georgia. So it is decidedly possible that I have a Georgia accent as of the week after I was in Georgia. I know that this is something about me. I can be talking to somebody with an accent, and I have to be very careful, because otherwise I'm mirroring their accent, and they're like, "Are you making fun of me?" No, I'm not. It's just coming
your nose
out.
For you.
That's just kind of the way it is. So, but put it back to trying to find out that, is somebody acting normal? What's normal, right? Where?
Not us.
Well, we're just going to say Rob a lot of the time says that I'm not normal. So we're all there. So, folks, when we come back, we'll actually get into some of the news. I don't know that we've covered much of it. I have no idea. I have no idea where we've been. We've
covered some stuff. Just it's cloaked in Amanda.
Maybe. Okay. So we'll be back right after this.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Writing Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Writing Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Well, okay, so what is old is new again. Right? So retailers are turning to good guys with guns, is a Tom Knighton article. And it's really that grocery stores, retailers are looking at it and saying, you know, we think we need a security guard.
Right, so they're starting to, there's an uptick, I think it's at 108% right now, of
hiring security guards for stores.
Right, and so the security guard companies are loving every minute of this. But
let's talk a little bit about why banks quit having a security guard.
Well, a lot of it was that they didn't take it seriously, so they had basically a retiree that sit there at the bank. We've all seen them on TV.
Here's a donut.
85 years old, sitting there and minding their own business, and the bank robber comes in and shoots them first.
Right. Well, the Buffalo store, the security officer was shot. So there is a piece. I'm not yet convinced that a security guard in these locations is going to do anything besides put them back at a high risk. Taking
their no gun signs down, because most of these places are, they call them gun-free zones. So,
right.
So if they take these no gun signs down, the general public will police themselves.
Exactly.
We have a very bad attitude about someone shooting at us.
Right.
We tend to shoot back.
We tend to shoot back. We tend to fight back, right? And so, but when you keep us to where for us to be law abiding, and most people want to be law abiding, though I did read an article that says that the average adult commits 2 to 3 felonies a week, just in everyday.
Because there's so many laws about so many things. Driving your car with a dirty windshield is against the law.
Is against the law. So, well, I know
and
that
if you got a light out, that's for sure. I mean, how many times have you been stopped on the side of the road because your license plate light doesn't work while they're searching your car for drugs and other paraphernalia, and then because you're a little old woman, they'd leave you alone. But some people get billy clubbed for their entertainment.
I take offense to the fact that I'm a little old woman, but I have to say my name is Amanda Suffolk, and I am a speeder. So I have conversations with officers on a periodic basis, but I didn't know that it was a felony.
I am a speeder. Well, speeding is depending on how fast you're going.
I don't think I'm felony level speeder. I can still afford this ticket level speeder. But
some of that, like if you're like doing 50 and a 25, that's probably getting close to felony level speeding.
Okay.
Also, too, they have a lot of. It used to be it was like you either were a felon or you weren't a felon, and now they have like grades of. So
grades of felonies.
50 shades of gray felonies to.
Got it.
As to how.
Yeah. So, are you a capital F felon or are you a baby F felon? Right? Is that it? So, yeah. Recently, I was doing some research for a guy that you and I went to high school with that was trying to figure out if he was allowed to buy a gun. So I don't know what the details were. I didn't ask. There's a spot where you don't be like, dude, what did you do that you think you have a felony and it's of that level? I'm not asking, right? I'm not. But so we were digging through at what level felony do you have? And he's like, well, I have a felony. And, yeah, so it was in the end, I believe we dug out the fact that and it was kind of cool because I had questions that I didn't have answers for. And so I sent him to the Attorney General's website, but we also, our video producer does the stuff with the Second Amendment Foundation and the Daily Bullet. And so he had a lawyer guest on the Daily Bullet. So we pre-submitted questions that were sort of like having our own lawyer on call, right? Saying if this were the scenario, what would be where would he look? What would he do? And so I believe that we now have one more gun owner because it was something that happened to him when he was 19. So I'm assuming that it had a little bit to do with sitting on that sack of seeds, but I'm not.
I mean, that's the thing. Back in the 70s, when you could get a drug felony, but then all of a sudden, all that stuff has gone away because they now you have to have 2 pounds of it or something instead of whatever little bit used to be, and
right.
Oh, they've just done away with that being a felony at all anymore. So, and who can keep track of all that stuff? And so,
not me. Well, it was, one of the interesting parts as I was digging into that was there are so many people who had felonies, and I was under the impression you got a felony, you couldn't own a gun, and they're like, well, when does my felony roll off? It doesn't. When does my domestic abuse roll off? Well, it depends. Did you hit your mother or did you hit a police officer? Right? I mean, there's different levels of something and different ages of things.
Well, domestic would be like your mom or your significant other or something like this. If you just beat up a police officer, that's under a different classification.
It wasn't, even though it was a United States police officer, it's not considered, right. It's not international versus domestic.
And some of that stuff, I mean, if you punched your brother in the head for something, it's
because he deserved it?
It rolls off eventually. Okay. But if you punch a police officer, it takes I don't even know it does roll off, but if it does, it takes it a long time to do.
They don't have a sense of humor about that, just saying. So they're saying, is that shirt Amanda's wearing from SHOT Show a while back? I have no idea. It has no date on it. It's a Glock shirt? and it fits really well and it washes nicely. So Glock does a really good job. But it's possible that this is a 7-year-old T-shirt that that's been hanging in the closet and it's still black. And so yes,
nothing like free clothes.
It could be. See, they're getting their advertising dollar out of this. You
Right?
never
Even if
know.
It took them 7 years.
You never know when they're going to get the return on that investment. And they're going to be like, see, boss, I told you that if we gave away these shirts, somebody would see it. And Pete at G-Webs saw it. So there we go. I actually don't know, Pete, but it's really soft. Not you want to pet my sleeve? You
No,
can pet
I
my
do
sleeve.
not.
You can see just how soft it is. So anyhow, so what is your thought about retailers having security guards?
Well, the thing is why would they pay for a security guard when they could just open up the gate on the no guns zone thing? And then two, I see that other places around the country are fighting back about the juvenile gun owners.
Oh yeah.
So that when you're 18 to 21, you can't own a lot of places. You can't buy a gun now, but before it was no pistols, only only rifles. Now they're starting to roll the stuff around, and so they're saying that the Second Amendment covers this 18-year-old just like it does a 21-year-old.
Well, you called this. I pulled this story out because you called this, and you're like, this whole Bruin case.
Well,
you guys are going to be so sick of hearing us talk about Bruin.
They're only going to 18 right now because that's the guy that they're dealing with.
But it's going to get younger.
Yeah.
It's gonna get younger. Somebody's going to be able to take their allowance in a little sack of money down to the store, lean up against the counter, stretch up to the top of the counter, and
give me
say,
the MP5, sir.
Sir, how much would that gun in the window be? I need to start counting my pennies, right? So I think it's coming, and it's gonna be extremely interesting watching this happen. So you've heard it here, and it's going to continue on. So folks, this is hour 1 of Eye on the Target Radio. We will be back, and we'll talk more about the secret FBI
you
forms.
ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Shooter standby.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Well, we're back. So somebody is watching our show to such an extent that the T-shirt that I have on that they say is from 2017. This is the note that just came out. It says the USA Marketing Department came up with a new logo that had serrations in the word Glock. Gaston Glock saw those and said nope and had them all destroyed. So what I'm wearing, according to gun websites, is a valuable piece of Glock history, and it's very rare. I thought it was very rare that my shirt still fits. So I was very proud of that. 5 years later, I'm still in the same size shirt.
Now you know when you take it off, you can sell it on eBay.
Right. Now I got to make sure that I don't spill something on it because I'm such a slap, you know? There you go. You are the only other person that I know that owns one, in addition to who? Pete? You? That's funny. That is amusing as all get out. So yeah. Yeah, how much is that Tommy gun in the window? That is exactly. So we're going to listeners' feedback here, and so ending our show in the last hour was talking about how at what age can you buy a gun, and so the new song will be how much is that Tommy gun in the window. There's that. So I'm going to continue on with this article where Firearms Policy Coalition. So we talk about Bruin all the time, and I want you to really start to think about the work that the Second Amendment Foundation and the Firearms Policy Coalition does, because this summary really tells you that they are going after this restriction of gun rights from adults that are under the age of 21. And so Firearms Policy Coalition has a case in Pennsylvania, the Third Circuit. They have one in Texas in the Fifth Circuit. They have one with the federal government in the Fifth Circuit. They have one in Illinois in the Seventh Circuit, one in Minnesota in the Eighth Circuit, one in California in the Ninth Circuit, and one in Georgia in the 11th Circuit. So what that says is that they are tackling
changing.
Yes, and they're tackling it on all fronts. They're like, look, we're looking for people who have standing, and then we're filing this so that these suits are going to be bing, 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 bing.
We've said that this is going to change a lot of things, and it's a lot of it is the people don't understand what being free really means, and so there's a lot of things that they're going to start being real antsy about due to the fact that there's no regulation on it.
Right.
So it's a...
And then some of it is the Second Amendment folks are going to be like, there should be a law against this or a law about this. And it's like, we don't have to have a law about everything.
But what there should be is penalties for using it wrongly. I mean, it's one thing if you're making soup in your Mr. Coffee maker, but when you're... using your sporting firearm to rob the gas station down the street, that's using it wrongly.
Yes. Running soup through your Mr. Coffee may be considered a crime also. I'm just saying. Because I think the alphabet noodles will kind of get stuck.
You got to strain them out, then you put them back in on the backside.
Isn't that too much trouble? Isn't that too much? Maybe only if you did the broth portion. I do not. I don't know. Okay. I do not know. So what do you got? What else do you have here?
Well, you had tempted them with this thing about...
the secret forms. So, is there any one of us who hears the FBI and secret forms and we feel comfortable and confident that they are protecting us and our country?
You know, I spent my childhood watching Hogan's Heroes, and General Hochstetter used to come into the office blowing smoke and waving his hands around. And when they say FBI, that's what I can think of.
That's
As,
that's Hogan's Heroes. We got to go to that. So gun GOA. So Gun Owners of America has called the FBI out on this, and I think it's a righteous bust. It's a legit call out. So what has happened? Eric Pratt from Gun Owners of America, nice guy. He's an amazingly nice guy. But in addition to that, he's a really smart guy.
As long as you're not passing anti-gun laws in front of him, that's all.
Then So okay.
Over being a nice guy right away.
Then his nice wears off. Is that what you're saying? But no, I mean, but he's looking out for us. He's looking out for Americans. He's looking out for the Second Amendment folks. And so GOA is one of those organizations that I strongly recommend that you consider joining. But so GOA sent a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland about the fact that the FBI has a secret form. So here's what the FBI is doing.
Secret form.
I know, isn't that crazy? But so here's what the FBI is doing. The FBI is going to people that are, I don't know how you call it. They're in that delicate balance thing to where they're kind of on the fringes of whether they're a lawbreaker or they're not a lawbreaker. And so they know that they've done stuff that they really don't want to talk to the FBI about. But is it bad enough to rescind your rights on multiple levels? Well, the FBI convinces them to complete. So here's a form, and it says, I understand that completion and submission of this form will result in the denial of my rights to purchase, possess, and use any firearm. So they're handing this form to people that are on a delicate balance and saying, we strongly urge that you consider rescinding your rights so that we don't have to do anything to you. I don't know what they're using as a persuasive.
They're saying that even though that they really have nothing that they can hold against them at that point, but they're pushing this paperwork, and a lot of people, because you don't understand your rights, you don't know, and
when the FBI comes to you and says you need to fill this out because I don't think you should have a.
Well, there's a couple things you're trained as a youth. One is you don't want to spend the night in jail. The other is you don't want to have to call your mom to bail you out, and the other is you don't want somebody to shoot at you.
Well, those are all legit. Those are all legit points.
So when they come to you with this and say that we're going to shoot at you, or we're going to put you in jail, or you're going to have to call your mom to come and get you.
Or we'll give you this form and you can fill the form out and then we'll quietly go away and everybody will be all happy.
I'll sign that piece of paper.
I'll gladly sign.
Tell Ma about what's going on.
And I mean, it's sort of like, what was that? Oh, on the 4473 form, it says, have you renounced your citizenship? And you read that and you always say to me, so does that mean just when I was...
fill out paperwork or just slam my glass down on the bar
and say, I'm done. I'm done, right? So, exactly. And so this is sort of that they are voluntarily giving up a constitutional right because somebody in a position of authority is using their authority for overreach. And
like I said, most of us don't understand the law stuff anyhow, and so signing your name is not a big deal.
Right. And so
some people, there's a lot of people who don't really have a grasp of what's going on, and they don't expect to ever be, say president or king of England or anything like this. So they don't really worry about signing a piece of paper that says something like that, or that they can't have a bank account, or that they're going to be not allowed to leave the country, because they're never leaving the country anyway. So it's we just take it for granted that whatever that is not going to affect us in the long run.
And when the police, the FBI tells us that this is in our best interest, there's that. The interesting part is that they can self revoke their rights, and it will then give them put them in a position to have a denial of the right to purchase, to possess, and to use any firearm herein and into the future. So, which means that they're going to sign this, and they then, if they touch a gun, shoot a gun, hold a gun, buy a gun, try to buy a gun, it constitutes a felony. So the right of self-incrimination, I mean, pre-incrimination, it's craziness. It's sheer craziness. We'll talk more when we get back.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, KRMAradio.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, so we are back. And so, every show has a theme. This one's the show about nothing, right? Is that it?
Well, it's about a lot of stuff.
It's about everything and nothing.
We're going to talk about Benitez. You remember Judge Benitez? He took away the 10-round magazine bans and stuff like this.
So he's a California judge that is...
they love him.
He is a judge to watch.
So anyhow, he had some issues with somebody in June, and so he said that they were the winner, but it was going to go to appeal. So he gave them some things to think about, and one of them was Bruin coming out at the end of the month, and then he also put some timelines on their stuff. So they only have a certain amount of time to rebuke his decisions. So it's coming up. The end of October, I believe, is going to be the end of the line for California, and it doesn't look like they have any way of winning.
So it's really funny because I do the Polite Society podcast on Monday nights with Rob Morris, Paul Lathrop, and a co-host, a variety of others. But Rob Morris has been this... Benitez is like, Rob Morris is like, I think I love him, right? I mean, he has been just watching. He's made watching Benitez kind of like watching football. It is a spectator sport for Rob Morris and the Self-Defense Gun Stories. He's watching what's happening with this.
You have to be a certain kind of a nerd to just get your jollies watching the courts because it's very dry English humor.
Well, I think we are that kind of nerds.
It's funny because Benitez cited the 1939 Miller case and then Heller and McDonald when he was making these decisions.
Well, and you think that the Miller case was decided wrongly.
Right. Miller was a guy who had a sawed-off shotgun, and the federal government said that he wasn't allowed to have that, and he said that it was a commonly used item, and the way it was decided was that the military at the time did not use sawed-off shotguns, they're saying, although they did use riot guns and other shotguns. Nowadays, they all use like 14-inch entry guns, so Miller was just ahead of his time, had Army thought about it.
In your thoughts, do you think that the Miller case is gonna be able to be?
Well, Benitez has apparently got it on the tip of his tongue, so I'm sure that he's looking at that and using every bit of it that he can push. So it's there's a spot where we're gonna gain so much stuff here. Sawed-off shotguns, short-barreled rifles, these machine guns, the capability of manufacturing new machine guns, all that stuff is coming back. It's ours to give away. So if as long as we don't try to appease the left and let them deal us out of something,
no peas for the left. No peas.
But the thing is, they will try to come at you with a compromise, and then you'll give up something that you didn't really need to give up. And we are famous for doing this. I mean, if you look back way back,
compromise, erosion. It's erosion. Don't allow them to use the compromise word. It is erosion.
Right, but we're going to get this stuff back, and we need to remember that criminals are criminals, and that your gun rights are your rights, and we're not giving them up. The other thing that you got to look at in some of this stuff is that we've gone so long without knowing. We're not allowed to have a machine gun. We can't have a suppressor. We can't have sawed-off shotguns. All this stuff. So is it that little jurisdictions like your town, your county, your state going to try to put something in there? So you have to pay attention to all this stuff, folks. Remember a couple of years ago when the BFW Hall was trying. I don't remember where they were at. They were trying to re-roof their building, and they didn't have money. But then when they were cleaning out the attic, they found a machine gun that has a tag on it that said that Sergeant York sent it home from World War I.
Yeah.
So they didn't have any paperwork for it. So the ATF wanted to take it from them. They wanted to sell it because they thought that it would give them enough money to do their roof, which I'm sure
it would have, right? But since it didn't have paperwork.
So I don't know how the outcome of that went. I don't know if they ended up destroying it. I don't know if they ended up getting a pass and was allowed to sell it to a museum or something.
Yeah.
But anyhow, Sergeant York's Maxim gun was on the line. Today, that would be a perfect venue to...
the perfect case to go back to Bruin and question the 1934 gun control.
Right. And then we would have a nice Maxim gun that somebody could be out running.
With provenance, that would be pretty much amazing, right? I mean, because a value of something is the value, but then provenance has so much more to
do with it. Right. I mean
yeah.
This happened to be at the right place at the right time, and somebody picked it up to use it or do something with it, and all of a sudden now it's famous because of that guy.
That guy, yeah, that guy.
There instead of moving on 20 feet.
Exactly. So it's sort of like that Sammy Davis Jr. gun that the California destroyed because they said that it was worth $300. And it's like, okay, I don't care if it was Sammy Davis Jr.'s shoelaces.
Well, I was saying,
they are worth more than $300.
A couple of years ago, that we were at the Ohio Gun Collectors Show, and there was a guy there that was showing off a pair of Colt Walkers. And he had the actual Colt Walkers that Colonel Walker carried. And so you think about this was 1847. Walker was issued these guns by the Texas Rangers. He was killed in action. The guns are split up. And so this guy had finally put them back together again. And he said at the time he paid $5 million for one of the guns, and he paid big money for the other one. So it's like...
Because I personally would think that $5 million was big money, but if you have a $5 million gun and you've now found its twin,
and you've got to have it.
There would be, and there's only one, and you've got the provenance to it. I paid big money, right? Whatever that, it's really funny in deciding some of that stuff, and then what the value is to the world afterwards. And so that's the piece. When you watch some of these gun grabbers and they want to destroy things, they're destroying history, and it's the value to the world. We'll be back right after this.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Writing Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Writing Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Okay, so I have a story for you that is one of those things that it's the internet is forever. So it is that things will come back to haunt you if you are not consistent.
Did you find naked pictures or something?
No. I'm not looking on those pages. We're just saying. No, but so LA mayoral candidate Karen Bass. So she ran in the primary. She is running for LA mayor. And
she's got a good chance of winning, they're saying.
And so she wants to be, she's got this tough stance on crime. She's going to be tough on crime. So the city's crimes have led to a feeling of fear. And so she needs to stop that. And she's going to the federal government and asking for resources to tackle the homeless problem. And she is backing a Protect Children Through Safe Gun Ownership Act. So this act, she is a firm, staunch supporter of. And so as a portion of that, it is promoting the responsible gun ownership by requiring firearms to be secured in a gun storage or safety device and allowing, and this is the big part, allowing victims of gun violence or their families to sue if there's a death or physical harm resulting from a firearm not being properly stored. So she's saying, okay, it's a free-for-all. If your guns are stolen, if your guns are taken, if your guns are used in a crime, that you are financially responsible. So she has been, this is March, this is April, this is May. She's been touting this. September 10th, she makes headlines again. LA mayoral candidate Bass says that she had guns stolen in her home burglary. I can't say
The
that
funny
word.
about they broke
They
and stole their
burgled her.
guns, but they left the money and the drugs and everything else.
They only stole her guns. Right. So why did they only steal her guns? I don't know.
Maybe because she's part of this program, or maybe because the gun has more value than the rest of the junk that's out there.
I don't know. Yeah, her name is, our producer says her name is Karen Bass, right? So but no, seriously. So she's the front runner to become the Los Angeles mayor, and her house was broken into on Friday. And so she is talking about how people are feeling fear, that the communities are under attack, that they need to be tough on crime, and they need to be tough on gun ownership. So those dastardly people who own guns need to be responsible. And yet they've stolen her guns. And so tell me how responsible she is about this, because I'm just going to say watch this space, because that ought to get really interesting really quickly. just me, but
So we had mentioned this in the first hour a little bit about the thermostats being locked out.
Oh, yeah.
So they want to use basically that same technology for, they're using it in your car right now. I mean, if anybody's watched the police chases where they turn off the ignition on the car and...
Well, what about, have you seen the one on the cars where they're now saying that you have to pay a premium if you have heated seats, but you can't turn them on unless you subscribe? So there's features on your car that you have to pay a monthly subscription for, in addition to the, whatever, and these are the high-end cars, so in addition to the $100,000 that you paid to buy the car, you then have to pay them.
If anybody watched this old TV show called MacGyver,
right?
He would take like a paper clip and some other stuff, and he would tell that little circuit breaker in there, they call it a relay, a little relay.
Yeah.
He could tell that relay to do something that he wanted it to do instead of what somebody's in their subscription plan wanted it to do.
Exactly. Exactly. So Gun Website says that Karen Bass is a subject matter expert on what exactly not to do. But yeah, exactly there. So there's an article written by David, I can never say his last name, Codrea, Codrea. He is a frequent speaker at Gun Rights Policy Conference.
He's saying,
he's drawn this analogy, and it makes so much sense.
Well, he's showing you a picture of the smart gun, the only actual one that they have working. They have one that some company in Germany made. It did not work very well. The company went out of business, and we haven't seen anything from them or anybody else.
Right? Yeah. So it's not like anybody bought the technology. They're like, yeah, that's a great idea. And no.
But he's linking it to these thermostats and to the fact that every car built after 2008 has all of these smart car features where they link to each other, or that the police can turn things on and off where they want to, and that. So my suggestion to you folks is to buy an old gun and buy an old car and buy an old thermostat and.
I'm just saying, yeah. So it's really funny because you and I have this conversation all the time, because I want a car that I don't have to climb under and work on. And you, on the other hand, are like, give me this wrench and I'm good to go. So it's all good. At some point, when things go badly,
my thing is still going to run, and yours is going to be sitting here with the Chinese flu.
I get it. I 100% understand that I will then be riding the moped with the motor and the pedals. I get that. I am just concerned that in the meantime, I have no desire to learn how to work on my car. And the older the car is, the more that has to happen.
So buy 3 cars, and then you can have a mechanic working on 2 of them while you're driving the other one, and that way then you always got one like a backup plan.
And I'm not one to play this card, but
if you show up to someplace in a Packard, people It's like, ooh. And then when you get an old car that has chrome on it, when you come out of the Walmart, you can spot which car is yours because it's the only one with chrome on it.
With chrome on it. Well, there is that. I end up with this spot where I go to the garage to have something done, and they're like, "Oh, you need brakes on your car. Here, it's $1,200." And it's like, no, it shouldn't be. So they see me coming, and the common sense litmus test fails right there.
Right, they've taken all of that stuff away from you in school. The average person believes they can't fix their own stuff, and so then we buy this disposable electronic things that they're in control of. It's not going to go good for us, folks.
I am in 100% agreement, and I understand where you're at with it. I really do, but I don't know that society is in a spot to where we can push back unless there is like a car company who will not do an electronic car.
Well, and the problem you have is that the average person won't buy a car that has wind-up windows and rubber floor mats because they're so used to this plush, super quiet, super everything, modern-day car. And
you mean one that turns on when you hit the key?
If you go back to 1972 and you don't have heated seats and you have to change the channel on your radio by hand, and
okay, I get.
You actually have to use your key to start the thing instead of pushing a button from in the house and waiting for it to warm up or any of that stuff.
Yeah,
you kind of gotta be there.
I get it.
It's like having a relationship. If you are nowhere near your significant other, things fall apart. But if you're together, you see when something's happening, you can get it straightened out ahead of time.
I have a relationship with my heated seats. I'm just saying that I love them. I love them. And so in the wintertime, they are my bestest friend.
Buy a goose down comforter and throw it in there and sit on it. You'll be nice and toasty warm anyhow.
I don't know. I don't know. But I see your point on the smart guns. And it's really funny because Americans will not go for a smart gun, but they will go for a smart thermostat. They will go for a smart car. They will go for a smart... I mean, there are people who have an electronic refrigerator that tells them what's inside it, right? I don't want that kind of negativity.
1 can of pickles and 2 cans of beer.
I do not want that kind of negativity in my life where it says you need to go to the store.
The sign is flashing on my refrigerator, right?
Correct. It's like you're out of mustard. You're out of milk. Your milk is now over age limit. You know, it's that kind of it's that kind of stuff. It's like don't chance it.
Buy a gun now too.
Don't chance it. Do not chance it. Yeah. So we're in all that. So I know what I forgot to tell all y'all was that I got a letter from the NRA. And we had been talking about this a little bit, that I had been very interested in running for the board of directors of the NRA. I have made it through the nomination process, and I will be on the ballot for NRA, one of the NRA director seats, one of the NRA board of directors seats in the February election. So I'm pretty excited about that. And
so vote for huh?
Yes. Vote for me. Vote for me.
Get a little vote for me sign in the back.
There you go, Amanda, for board of directors. No, I just think I think it's great. It's a great opportunity.
Maybe
and
foam campaign hats. Got your stuff on. You can hand them out.
Chicken in every pot. Is that what I'm gonna? I have to come up with a platform. I don't think I'm gonna do the chicken in every pot platform, but okay. We'll be back right after these messages.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Okay, so as we come back, Rob's looking at some stuff, and the USDA announced a ban on importing Canada geese and
ducks that are harvested in Canada.
So let's talk about this. But they waited until the day after hunting season started. So if you are a hunter,
traveled up there, set up, spent all their money and everything.
Right. So they're up there waiting. They get started. They're up there hunting. So they planned a trip. So they have to buy their licenses. They have to book their travel. They have to get their guns into Canada. You know, it's not just I drove over the border.
The sheer amount of money they spend on gasoline and beer getting there.
There's all that. So they're there, and then the USDA issues a notice saying, okay, fine, but you can't bring anything back across the border.
Right.
So
you have to eat what you get right there, or
so there you go. You're hunting it, you're cooking it, you're eating it, you're standing right on the border going, okay, here's my barbecue grill, right?
Around here we have things where, say you could go hunting for a cause for like the Veterans Association or one of these,
right?
And give the deer carcass to these.
Yeah, so they're called feed the something or other. Feed.
Anyhow,
yeah,
you can feed like the old folks home and that. I wonder if the Canadians have something on that order that these guys could donate their stuff
I don't
to.
know, but I think it's really, really tacky.
Well, you think it is. Just think what that Canadian goose thinks that.
I just gave my all
for no reason.
Right. So yeah, and so the thing is that they're saying, oh well, we don't want to take a chance on having bird flu in the United States.
Right, they're saying that the bird flu is already here and it's going to get worse.
But the thing is, what's their plan for stopping the birds at the border from flying over?
Your papers, please.
I mean, sorry. Okay, so
I think we have missiles for that.
maybe that's the thing. So hunters don't go to Canada; just come to the border, and your job is to stop them right there. Just stop them at the border, right? That's. But no, seriously. So we've just broken it off in the hunter's ear.
They're calling it high-path avian influenza bird flu, and it began in January and was first detected in South Carolina. They said that it has since killed 46 million domestic birds and uncountable amount of wild birds.
Okay, and we decided, since it started in January, we decided the day after hunting season to then stop it.
Well, they'll wait until a week before Thanksgiving and do something with all the turkeys so that you
that would be next.
Too.
So, yep.
Pay attention, folks.
Pay attention.
They are out to get you.
So get your turkey now. Put it in the freezer because you're gonna want one, and you're not gonna be able to. We're calling it now. There's going to be a turkey shortage just because. This is what
can be. That's why.
Just because there can be. So you start to look at cause and effect, and when it says I'm from the government and I'm here to help, no, they're not.
Well, I just realized I have a very negative outlook on things.
So there will be a no bird zone around lakes and stuff to address this. Yes, exactly. Come on, man. I that's what I'm seeing. It's like, okay, so we're going to create some.
Are they going to make little masks for those ducks?
No. We're going to build a fence between the United States and Canada, right?
COVID masks that they're going to strap on all the ducks as they come across.
There you go. Right. I think that wrap that rascal, right? Isn't that right? There was a whole.
All I can think of is the old penguin from the Batman show. Whack, whack, whack.
Right. I'm just looking at this, and it's like, does anybody see the ridiculousness of this, or is it only?
It's getting so much easier to see the farcical side of all of this stuff. And I mean, I always tell you to go as far out as you can think, and then come back to reality. And
I can't get that far out. I cannot get that far out. I am a linear thinker. I am a logical linear thinker, and some of this I look at it and I'm like. I don't know how you loop that line around like that, but man, is there is something there. So there. Okay, so now let's start to talk about. I got another one. This is like the day of these. UPS has now decided that they are taking exception because they're in response to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, the ATF or BATFE, and they are going to issue new rules about firearms. But UPS is now reading it wrongly And
that thing is that they're going after the ghost gun part of it, and then they're also if you have a small business and you don't send 350 handguns a week, then you risk losing your license to have them handle your.
So the only people who can ship guns using UPS based on their new proposed policy is going to be the gun manufacturer. So once it goes from the gun manufacturer to the warehouse, then we're back to Pony Express, because in many cases the U.S. Post will not accept firearms. So FedEx does at a premium, and UPS does, and now UPS is saying no.
Starting to play along with this because under pressure from some of the anti-gun groups.
Bingo, there's the line again. The linear.
So Gifford shows up in the.
Imagine that. So they sent a letter to FedEx and UPS asking the companies to adopt a policy of refusing to ship dangerous firearm products that are fueling the epidemic of gun violence in America. So
this leaves an opening for someone who's interested in being in the shipping industry. I mean, as much as these guys, they got a head start on you, but if they're not going to ship anything.
Now, let's look at it this way. Given the fact that we're back to Bruin, the 1934 Gun Control Act, the 1968 Gun Control, the restrictions that happen, all of a sudden, Amazon may be our answer, right? And so the Amazon warehouse may just ship it directly to your house.
Right. I mean, it's coming.
And it may end up being that ridiculous. And so the Giffords Foundation is trying to restrict it with no concept of what this Bruin thing is happening and where it's at. But when you back the United States people into a corner, we are motivated, we are creative, we are, there's just a spot where it's like,
I can see where there's
not taking it.
There's opening for a new company to do credit card type transactions that aren't under the normal standard operating.
I can't stand no more, right?
Shipping can be also a new sideline for somebody.
And it may be, but look at it. So the U.S. Postal Service, unless they can get to the U.S. Postal Service for it to step in, but it is so. I don't even know what the words would be, but woke would be a portion of it.
Well, I see some of this stuff too, where they destroy the packages en route to the customer. Once they took the control of it,
and then they destroyed it. I would think that is a huge lawsuit.
Your lawyer would love to deal with that, I think.
Right. You take my stuff. You charge me to take my stuff. You charge me for insurance for my stuff, and then you smash my stuff. That's not going to go so good.
Should be insurance fraud, I think.
I think so. We'll be back.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.